Beyond the Veil.
Hi everybody, it's Amraya and Megan and Zach Mr. Eyeliner, and we're back with episode 2 from Beyond the Veil, the clownverse this week. And let me get this out of the way first. I don't like clowns, so I'm not too stoked. I really don't like clowns at all. But I have my clown shirt on.
All right, let's get started on clowns that you love so much.
Yeah, clowns. And remember when the whole clown sighting hype and hysteria started? You guys remember that? That's going to play a big part.
Yes, the 2016 clown sightings.
Yeah, and
Which
that actually was like the most broadcasted thing about clowns I'd ever think on national television.
Yeah, but in 2014 in Ohio, there was not only a clown sighting, but the clown attacked and stabbed a kid.
yes, I do remember that. There
Remember
was
that?
2014, there was actually a couple, and then 2016, when this like clown pandemic thing happened, started because of what was his name, Gags the Clown in Wisconsin. So I have to put some pictures in here. They're actually really creepy. But that whole movie, I can't believe that for such a short film, he just like completely took over the internet and went international with this, causing like such mayhem for clowns.
Well, you do know, like, that movie was not well received by the people where you live, from that place where you live or anything. Like, that movie was not. He screwed over a lot of people. Like, he made that out of greed, in my opinion.
I feel like that had to be some sort of like college, film credit type thing or something like that. Like, it's just, it's not a movie. It's like a short film,
Yeah, but short films, a lot of the college students in film school are not, they want to be filmmakers at that age. They take something so personal in real life and they don't know nothing about, and they take it and they don't realize, and even in a short film, you might be ruining a community's respect for something,
I mean, after the clown sightings, I think, yeah. Like, can you get charged for that if, like, your clown sightings, like, your whole thing that you tried to do to, like, promo your film, like, actually got people put in jail and, like, hunted down?
Depending on said country or state, I'd have to look into that, but I don't know. Maybe.
So, looking this up, okay? So this was August 3rd, 2016. All right. This is when he decided to like put it out on the internet. I forget like which form of social media he did. It got picked up by a news site in Chicago, actually. And they ran something on it being like, what are we supposed to do with like these clowns? They're popping up and whatever. And then that took off and kept the ball rolling. And then you get trolls who wanted to dress up like clowns. So this is in the beginning of August. And by, I think, mid-October, like it was already like international. There was like clown sightings like daily. Like police were like, stop calling us, stop dressing up as clowns. Like, please, we can't deal with this.
Yeah, I remember Ohio got a few of them too in the big cities.
Yeah, no, of course. So it went as far as the UK got it actually pretty bad. Like they took it like really far. So costume clowns with knives were outside of children's schools trying to lure children away. I assume these were dumb teenagers or something like that, but they took this hardcore.
Yeah, and that's, I want to continue what you're saying there. This is what I really want to talk about too, is you're saying the year things. There's some things that gap in. In 2013, I found this so interesting because I remember this. There was a character known as the Northampton Clown that repeatedly was like 100% seen all the time in the English town in Northampton. I had friends who actually saw that person in front of like a Costco once. And it was the work of local filmmakers trying to make a buzz. But later on, what that built upon, I remember this. This is like, I had to take notes in this one. It was like, of the millions of views in 2014, further complaints of evil clown pranksters were targeted, like, oh, wait, you're saying in France. But that, you know what that was the inspiration for? American Horror Story Freak Show. And I have this actually, like, I have real honest proof on this. A lot of makeup artists I know in the industry said, yeah, Ryan Murphy's team inspired Freak Show on this whole thing.
Yes.
So everything you're saying, this inspired other people to profit off of.
Yes. No, absolutely. And so around that time from like 2014 to really 2018 was like a really clown heavy, clown focused, like everything. And, you know, we had the Joker movie coming out at like the later end of that. And, you know, just all these little one-off B-rated clown like horror movies that
Well,
just like
wasn't the
popped
remake
up.
of It between that time?
I believe so, yes.
Because I remember first people were trying to say it was a stunt done because of promoting Stephen King's remake of It.
Yeah.
So I
No,
think
there was a bunch. Then I forget. There was another. Oh, I did not write it down, and I do not remember the name of the film. It was a smaller. It was a smaller film. That was like actually in theaters. You know. That was like some creepy, crazed clown also, like during that time. So it was just everywhere.
Well, originally, if you've ever watched the movie, what was the John actual original with Jamie Lee Curtis, Terror Train, there is the killer's dressed as a clown in the scenes. So Terror Train scared people into like being scared of clowns during Halloween parties, constantly New Year's Eve parties. Terror Train was a big thing. And as MRI says, like about like say the whole Stephen King, I want to get into like how Pogo the Clown, the persona of the serial killer John Wayne Gacy, was the obscene clowns. People got into it like they were driving to it like it was mass media to the point people really bought into it. And yeah, it is based. Stephen King took inspiration from like that whole. So supposedly John Wayne Gacy, a lot of people believe was supernatural in a way. And I think that was kind of like Stephen King's outlook in his mind when he was in that time living his life, on a lot of shit. And I think that's how he kind of created Pennywise.
I think Pennywise was definitely inspired by, Pogo the clown in a way.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
John Wayne.
I think a lot of people drew inspiration for that. Because, I mean, clowns, like, you have your creepy, like, terrifying Art the Clown type persona. You know he's up to no good. But when you see, like, this cutesy little thing at a children's birthday party, which I would never do, I would never get a clown to a children's birthday party, because the first thing I'm going to think about is John Wayne Gacy. Like, no.
Right.
Absolutely not.
And with John Wayne Gacy came the whole birth of the word murderphilia.
Yeah.
That's where the word murderphilia started because of the paintings that my friend was selling, Mr. Staten.
Yes.
And that's her kind of friends, guys.
I still want one. If I ever win the lottery, like I said, there will be signs.
But like, if people, when they hear this, I want to add, we had actual viewers here. I would say to them, like, just imagine if you could put yourself back in the 80s. I'm Wayne Gacy. Look like this charming big dude in clown makeup, knocking on your door, ringing the doorbell for rich people, like really like not poor people, like high-ender people with swimming pools in LA, wherever they are. I mean, and they let him in with open arms. This guy was such a great person that he could fool anybody, I think.
He was well loved in his community. He used to do like charity events and stuff like that. And, he was married. He had a wife despite, everything else. And he was
I'm pretty sure he had a kid, John Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Sure
he had children.
Profilers at that time.
No, he was completely under the radar and he did his thing. And I believe it was Cook County, right? That he lived in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he did charity events. He worked with his community. He was just, it was either, was it Patches and Pogo the Clown were like his two things. But then he would wear like his black jacket and he would walk around and he was just this normal dude. He was chubby and, jovial looking. Either way.
I think from like a lot what I think about him, if I actually had a profile, I think he was trying to fight within his own head. Can I pull this off every day? So if I go out there and put a smile on and dress normally, will they still think I'm the same as the happy clown I'm playing? And I think that that's the part of he has no empathy and he's a sociopath. And this is when the whole sociopath, empathy comes into play because he had no feelings about either way of it. He just was trying to pretend he was an actual person. I don't think the guy ever thought he would get away with just living in the real world. Does he think people believe him? And he proved it to himself that people will never see what's coming.
He has the famous quote, "Clowns get away with murder."
Yeah, that's the scariest thing about these kinds of sociopaths and these psychopath people. Like if they're smarter and they know how to hide and public. You could be sitting next to them on a bus. They could be your bus driver. They could be your Uber driver. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he pulled that off flawlessly for what he did. I mean, 33 children, and under his house too. So like, as we were talking about last episode, is that like how many of these wives like would have had to know or have some clue or something, some red flags, some signs anywhere? Like 33.
I gotta say to you, that's some sloppy marriage right there. If the women can't pay attention, you got 33 under there. You kind of don't have any sense in your head that why is he out there all the time doing it? I'm sure like wifey over there wasn't like, I'm always going to be at the grocery store. No, I'm sure that took him a little more time than that. Come on. Somebody had to know something, but never wanted to say something.
I think when his wife left, his sister either moved in or his sister was visiting and the smell. Something, she knew there was something, but I don't think she ever said.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you're in that scenario, you got to put yourself there. If that's your husband, I'd probably disappear. Like, bye. I know what you are. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to disappear. But if you're the sister, I don't know what that relationship will be like,
I mean, I wonder if in his case, and back in the time, they call them like lavender marriages, where somebody who is gay on either side, they have a straight marriage, and usually the other partner knows, and they're like, we're your cover, you can go do whatever you want, and you can have sex with whoever you want, just, we maintain this for the public's, eye. Because it wasn't legal then. And so I wonder if in this case, maybe she was aware. And that's what it was. And obviously she didn't know like really what he was doing, but just assumed that, instead of luring children, he was with other men.
All right. We could break into that. This is like a real podcast. I always say it's like, what if she thought of something? I think the closest thing, he's playing a clown at kids' parties. I think the wife probably jumped out of that relationship pretty quickly because she probably thought he was something that with grown men. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fair.
I don't think any woman is that blind to that in that time. No.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I agree.
They pretended they were, but no.
I'll have to get my friend to come on for Patreon. Ryan Almighty, who does the blood paintings. He was the first one to do the pogo and blood and show off his stuff. And he's got some original. He's got some original pieces as well too.
Yes, I know you said that, which I'm so freaking jealous. Like I'm so jealous of that. That's really cool. I wonder if those are like freaking haunted, give off like bad juju. You know what I mean?
I would just say they're inspired.
Yeah. So circling back to the 2016, clown like pandemic. I keep saying that word. It's ruined me. The clown panic, right? So I was curious to know how many people got arrested, if anybody like died because of that, if anybody took this like way too far. And apparently they did. In Alabama, 7 people had terrorist charges because of this. At Penn State University, there was 3 clown sightings. So 6,000 of the students, and I assume others, went on a manhunt. They went on a clown hunt to go look for this clown, and they were out for blood.
The question was a clown crawl ball, like where they go to bars, get drunk a little bit, then go on the hunt.
It's college, so I wouldn't put it past them. I'm sure they got themselves all hyped up and everything, but right. They went on an entire hunt because there was 3 sightings, and most of these sightings were just the same internet thing circling on Facebook or whatever, but they said it was at Penn State, or they said it was in Chicago, but it was the same image that was originally in Green Bay.
But people, you can tag the location differently if you do something like that, and you don't want that where you are, and you got these kinds of people who are like, yeah, we're going to fight back against this weirdo, and they do. So you can cause such mass panic for no reason. The person probably isn't even in your city at that point, but okay.
Yeah, no, and that's all it was just panic for nothing. And I think so. We were talking about last episode a little bit. Yeah, how with the storm area 51 and all of those things, and it's so easy to do it if you have the right atmosphere. He had a good quality image too. I think that's what made it. You know, it wasn't like some Bigfoot sighting image where it's like grainy and you have to be like, well, maybe that's a clown. Like, maybe that is in my neighborhood. I don't know. Like, it was so clear and to the point, and I think that's what made it go like
All you
viral.
really need to cause this is something that's the movement currently and change it a little bit and have the right point of view of it and the right, you're saying, picture and the right place. And you can make it happen. That's how scary it is. You can scare so many people by if you pay attention to what's going on currently and switch it a little bit and do something weird. Clowns were a scapegoat for so many, I think, our whole lives. Clowns have always been a scapegoat. Is this cool if I talk about like something I really want to talk to you about, like what the clown defined from the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to tell you, like, this is so powerful. I read about this many years ago, but I took notes on this for you guys, especially for the show. Let's go. Like, there's so many clowns that were developed in the 1800s by Joseph Grimaldi, and he was like, he's written about so many times. He has been in the flying world of Sadler's Wells Theater, which is one of the biggest ones in the beginning, because that started kind of the circuses. Clown makeup has often been a way to deconstruct conventional beauty standards and convey a transgressional through abstinence and like do nothingness and a symbol of rebellion. Clowns have long challenged mainstream norms and the status quo, whether that's court jesters and cabinet and a cabaret, insane clown posse, as you guys will say, you know, same thing. But it's been the nature of what people who dress as clowns have understood if they read a book. And I have to be honest, I truly don't think anybody that does the clown thing is not less than an intelligent person, because they studied the fact that clowns are that powerful of rebelling and causing a big movement, you know?
Well, yeah, like you said, jesters. I mean, those go all the way back to ancient Rome and Greek.
Yeah.
They've moved up from there.
Yeah. You guys mentioned the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix version of the Joker. Let's talk about that. That's all about mental health awareness. Now we talk about Heath Ledger's Joker, which is just anarchy. And he was anarchy. He did the clown persona because anarchy is that. Heath Ledger lived that life so much where it killed him in a way. I'm going to be honest, it did.
Yeah.
He was on with it every day. He took pills, and that's why, you know? That role drove him so, like, he loved that role so badly, he wanted to be perfect at it. You take it so serious like that, that role can get in your head. The
Method acting is insane.
It is. It's insane. The anarchy, like, the way he portrayed anarchy in that movie, that's true anarchy. Watch the world burn.
Go further and say, you know, Jack Nicholson portrayed Tim Burton's version of the Joker, and then, you know, I think it was, my dad listens, he's gonna not like this, I can't remember. What was the Joker from Adam West?
He's a very flamboyant actor.
Yeah,
yes.
I can't remember his name either, but it puts an image in my head.
I don't
know who it is, and he's like the very comic version of Joker.
He's a very mythical version.
It's going to drive me insane. I'm going to look it up while you guys continue, because I need to know.
Yeah, no, I mean, clowns date back to forever. And I mean, across cultures and everything, there is that, you know, like that version of clowns and what are they, like the kabuki masks that is very like clown-esque.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, even like if you go into like say the movies now, remember like it was an Eli Roth produced, not really directed, where the father wanted the clown didn't show up, and the father put on this clown mask he bought from a shop, and he couldn't take it off, and it was cursed. It was a cursed item clown mask going back to the carnival days, and that's the whole premise of the movie. The dad becomes this clown killer because he puts on this cursed clown mask. Clowns are associated with supernatural and cursed items constantly.
Yes, no, absolutely.
There's so many crimes committed against people that dress like clowns in the early 1900s, just like witches. They thought a woman was a witch. They thought guys who dressed in carnivals, like doing makeup and being like at the term what they called a clown figure or in a carnival clown.
But clowns are creepy. Masks are creepy. It's just how, well, yeah, because it's how people's brains are. Like, it gives us like almost like an uncanny valley type thing. Like, there's something hiding behind your mask. Like, what are you hiding? Why are you hiding your face, your person, everything? And I think that's why people are so freaked out by it. Plus, you're painting a face on your face. It's meant to be like and goofy and silly for the most part for clowns. And that's what makes, you know, John Wayne Gacy and others so, scary.
That's all. Like, think about it. The first time we could ever imagine you heard about a clown. Where would you hear about it? Like at the circus, or say we're at a carnival, correct? And the reason that clowns even got a bad rep in the beginning, back before we were even thought of, was because they had some issues in small pockets of the world, in America and other places, where there was killing at a carnival, and they blamed usually the clown character or somebody else on it. But most of the people that played in these carnivals were creatures of the oddity. They were creatures of deformity. The clowns were the normal person in the clown costume and makeup. So who are
Yes,
you
and that
gonna
goes right back to Freak Show from
and
American Horror Story.
who are you gonna sell out? The normal guy, right? With the look at this, like, has the makeup on. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
could even go farther back to the movie Freaks, that Freak Show was
yes,
based
Love
upon.
freaks. Yeah.
absolutely. So
You know,
going
speaking
to
of clowns and everything, oh, I'm good.
but American Horror Story, I think a lot like that mass panic of clowns and clown sightings and everything was a big thing for a cult, American Horror Story, where they just started popping up in the clown faces and everything. And they were just there looming over you. That it also cult has to do a lot with like the election and everything. 2016, there's a lot of overlap. Like you
Yeah,
can't say that like those
I
two things aren't connected.
called that season the season where they really lost a good writer room, and they just kind of like really went with the most obvious stupidity imaginable and rip off everything that's going on in the world. And it was so in bad taste, in my opinion. It was in
I
bad.
understand they want to stay like valid and, up with current things, especially because a lot of them are, in the now. And then, when they put us back in time with some of the seasons, they did a really good job of doing that and taking us back to, when it was supposed to be. But yeah, that season, I did not like that season at all.
Because we all the term too soon.
Yeah.
That was way too soon. This
Yeah.
was like the same time where bath salts were going on in Florida, and people were dressing as clowns on bath salts and trying to bite people. This is the same time the elections go on, and everybody's off. It's really not there in their heads, and they're like going to leave the country, and they're so scared. You really put us. You should not have done that. It was in bad taste. 100%. You used clowns to kind of distract us with these mass scenes, but you knew what you were doing because you knew you were in bad taste doing everything.
Yes.
Clowns are the easy way out when you can't write a good script, I think.
No, and we'll talk about that after the break, though.
It
Right.
can be done well. It can be done well.
No, but you ever see it? No, I'm talking about TV shows. You ever see a TV show where they'll throw a clown mask on to rob the bank, or like all of a sudden like, they ran out of an idea to make this kind of like how we can get them to be into it more, and they put a clown mask on.
That clown from Hell House, though, look at that clown.
No, but that's an actual clown. Like when you go to a haunted house, we'll talk about that after the break. Yes.
After the break.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about that clown I know about. All right.
All right. We will pause here for a quick little ad break. So guys, we currently have no sponsors. So if you'd like to, please email us at beyondtvcontact@gmail.com. And if you would like to support any of us, you can go to my website, which is charmcraftshop.com, where you can find handmade jewelries, oddities, and occasionally crystals. You can also check out Zach's his line of anti-bullying eyeliners. You can find those in 12 different colors. He does at Zach Mr. Eyeliner on Instagram. So you can feel free to message him and ask some questions about it.
And Maggie, I want to add this. Anybody that knows a friend that has a small indie brand, we're all about supporting indie brands that need the shot, that need the support. Like we want to help people grow. So anybody that has a cool brand in any of the vein of what our show's about, send them our way. We're willing to support them and help them grow, and us to help us grow.
Also, any of my indie authors can message
Yes.
me on TikTok, or any of the indie filmmakers that get a hold of me to do stuff now, they can all message me on TikTok and get a hold of me that way, and we can talk.
And especially a lot of the authors that you may know that we don't know, who they only come to you because they don't know anybody else. Sometimes an author needs an audience, and if we can give them an audience, they can become the next big thing, and we want to help them become the next big thing.
Oh,
maybe
a lot of my author friends, a lot of my authors would definitely fit into this category.
All right, bring them on. Just bring the clowns on. Bring them on.
But if you are, speaking of clowns, though, if you are looking for a good read on clowns, Mortifier by Sarah DeRosa Horror, you can go to sarahderosahorror.com, or you can, I think, go to Amazon and get her book Mortifier. It's really all right. Thank you for coming back after that break, and we were talking about Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think that's what we left off on. Was that movie? Because I said that was a different type of movie about a clown. It's not just about
Yes.
it.
Yeah, it was. That movie was
It was cotton
wacky.
candy. Cotton candy people, man. That was the coolest thing ever. Cotton candy people. I loved cotton candy growing up.
Well, again, I think what the '80s did when the whole Gacy case came out. These guys who made the movie, they've been at a lot of horror conventions I've been to, and I think what they wanted to do was show that you could have comedy and satire with clowns again, because I don't think clowns were getting a lot of comedy at what was going on with Gacy at that time in the world. So they made that, and then they put alien clowns into it, and again, you put popcorn into it, you put cotton candy into it, you put a rock and roll soundtrack into it. It's the '80s. That's what you do, you know?
And those fun little wacky straws you had to put in the
Yeah.
cotton candy to get
Yes.
the blood from the people that were in there.
It inspired.
It's definitely one of my favorite genres of horror movies is where you have like the super B-rated horror movies that are comedies
Yes.
and satire. We'll get into it later. There's going to be a million other movies, but you have like Lamageddon, that was a really fun one. And like that 2016 era, like just awful, like they had like the Beaver movie. All of those movies are my
gosh.
favorites, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space was like a trendsetter for like that genre of movies. So I love it. It is much needed humor for, the world of clowns.
And what that actually inspired was like Bobcat Goldthwait, like first big movie he directed and starred in was Shakes the Clown. Well, he was a bank robber and he was a dirtbag, and that was a big indie darling. A lot of people respected him as a director since that movie. Shakes the Clown was, again, he robs a bank dressed as a clown, but then you see other movies where people rob banks dressed as clowns. It started so many trends. One movie did it, other movies followed. The clown aspect worked in so many things. According to like American stats, like in the '80s and up to like '94, so many bank robbers actually wore clown masks robbing banks. It was like the biggest costume that people would wear robbing a bank in America.
And then I think it went to President Nixon.
Yes. Which, to be fair, clown's a clown.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there is other movies going back to 2016. There's like there's Clowntown. That was a big movie. I think that one actually made it to theaters, if I remember correctly.
I mean, 2016, yeah, that happened, but then we get other movies, and I think we can get into that talk now. You gotta want to get into that talk of what really started inspiring in the later 2000s around that time. I want a mirror of that. I'm about to start off and talk about clowns because you like the clowns. You love a clown. Come on.
Yes. Don't you think I'm funny? Yeah, the Captain Spaulding. For sure. Yes. It's forever. If you love horror movies, you know who he is. Rest in peace. I miss you. Movies will never be the same.
So sad when I heard of that.
Yeah. No, it's that he's another one, is that, he has his whole persona, but he is this awful man. He is part of this serial killer family out in the middle of nowhere, but he puts on his clown stuff every day. That's another one that has to be, John Wayne Gacy.
But you mentioned that, like, because you have to understand what you mentioned, like, when he played that character, Rob Zombie created that character, he brought it back to horror movies in a better professional way, and that's when people started taking notice and making better movies.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. The whole Rob Zombie era of film is fantastic.
But then you go on like years later, and he made 31 with like the clowns and everything. That was like insanely awesome.
I don't know. I can't agree with you.
No, the theme was really awesome. The movie, I'm not gonna say it was awesome. Not the theme is cool though.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Sig Hag and, Captain Spaulding is one of the best, like, clowns. He is so, like, let's go America clown. It's not even funny. Like,
speaking of Captain Spaulding, if you're on TikTok, follow my friend, Captain Spaulding. He looks exactly like him.
No, he does. I love watching him so much, and it makes me miss him, like, so bad. He is really good.
And I feel bad because he's having a hard time right now, and I wish I could help him.
Aw,
I think he's about to lose his home.
that's not good at all.
Yeah.
So,
Side note: people like we all gotta support our friends and family in these tough positions, even if you barely kind of know them, but you have respect for them. Whatever you can do, help people.
yeah.
Help people in this
Right?
world.
Just sharing things out is, something,
Yeah.
Sharing
it
is caring,
helps.
unless you're a clown that arrives at your door for a birthday party and you later find out it's John Wayne Gacy.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Gacy, I don't know if I don't think we talked about this. The new TV show came out about Gacy, done by
Yeah,
John Brasky. Did you
there are
guys watch that yet?
I have not. There are so many documentaries on him and shows that I haven't even unpacked. I've seen a lot, but
I must say, as she
it's
said
endless.
that, do you two not agree with me that serial killers are now cooler than ever on TV? We have documentary made for Netflix, made for Prime, made for Apple about the same killer in 3 different projects. We have this. We have hot
Yeah.
actors playing this guy, hot women playing this serial killer girl. They're just throwing them out there. I think right now it's the hot age of telling these stories.
Well, it's because a lot of these people don't know who these people are. It's recent.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
you go back into the 70s and everything.
But then again, I'd rather see things about the serial killers I grew up with, and I've educated on from classes, and I've learned through research that are current to me and us. Because so many of them are so much worse.
Oh yeah, no, I mean
Yeah.
they've definitely enhanced and done things completely.
Like we
Like
talked about on the last one.
we're gonna get into it on another one about how from eras, how they've
Yeah.
and
And
how many
No,
are out there
definitely.
that haven't been caught, where there's certain
Yes.
bone graveyards at, stuff like that.
So many. But
there,
I think what it is for me and why it's recycling is personally I grew up on true crime. My mom was a lover of it. We would sit down, we would watch A&E shows. We were big into CSI and NCIS, all of those things. So we were that was our mindset, and we sort of sat down as a family and did that, which is totally the mom I will be. But because of that and watching the JonBenet Ramsey case unfold, as a child, there was always this interest in trying to catch the killer. Before Reddit, I used to think that maybe if I watched these documentaries that maybe I could find a clue, maybe I could come back to it and see something that somebody else didn't see. And I think that's what makes it so interesting to me. And
For me, it
we're
was
all gonna be
Unsolved Mysteries. Wait for Robert
yes,
Stack to come on, the Unsolved Mysteries theme song, and you're just waiting,
yeah, but
yeah,
thinking you're waiting to see if that guy down the street is this guy, or why is this place haunted? Is he really haunted? That got me into
that
everything, I
got
think, growing
anybody
up.
into that show. But the show I
yes,
want to talk about, remember the other show with the father who made the show because his son went missing and never found
Oh, yeah,
John Walsh?
Joe Walsh.
Yeah.
John Walsh.
yes, yeah.
I watched it with my mom growing up,
Right.
and
hmm
he
That's
bawled a
another
lot.
one.
And that would make you go, even a boy, man, you'd be bawling. Because this guy is so brave. He started the show because he never found him alive.
That's
hmm
that's what I mean about this though, is that I was raised on that, and my mom would always tell me this could be you, don't go out, don't do drugs, don't do these things, you're gonna end up like these people because you're not paying attention to your surroundings. And I grew up in a city, and you had to, so I became weary of weird characters on the street, or sometimes just that man that was just dressed so plain and looks like a businessman hanging out in places he shouldn't, those are the people that I'm just
You
serial
saw it.
killer. It's
I mean, you
you.
kind of gotta be in the world these days. It's not it's everywhere you live. You can live in a small town. You can live in the big city. But fortunately for me personally, I grew up in a big city, and I know I don't sit anywhere where I can't watch my back. I pay attention to everybody in the room. You learn that very early on because anybody can be
Yeah.
anybody, you know. But
I think even if you're not into true crime or anything horror, the way we are, there's always that one story that stuck with you. It could be something from your town, somebody who went missing, whatever that is that you heard about that eats at you. Like everybody has one.
But let's go back into our clown thing real quick, and I want you to talk about, because you mentioned it earlier, but I had to bring up so you remember it, and I know you know this. The whole like that 2012 film, the Stitches movie. That movie was the first one that really was kind of in the vein of what we have now, Stitches.
Yeah, so there's Stitches and then Tickles. Tickles the clown and Stitches, yeah.
Those two actually gave us space.
Yeah. No, there's definitely like those clown movies, and I feel like they're like less known about, that when, I don't know, like most people don't like clowns, so it's fair, but...
Yeah, I get that, but if you like horror films and if you like the horror clowns movies, Stitches and all the movies you talk about, I get they're more low level, but you need to know these movies because they started a lot.
No, yeah, no, they absolutely did.
You gotta respect them.
Like in the deep corners of like classic movies, like we said, especially with like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's like that's a cult classic film right there. Like absolutely.
You know what clown even creeps me out? Krusty from The Simpsons. That clown even creeps me out. And Sideshow Bob.
Once again, he's supposed to be this cute clown, but then once he gets off the camera, he's smoking cigarettes, hammering fucking down alcohol. Like he's a drunk, he's disgusting, he's depressed.
Your bastard uncle that you don't want over for Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right. Yes. That's what I always thought of him. Like, he's just the bastard you don't want there. No.
Everybody has that uncle, and his name's probably Dave.
Or like Scott or Brian. It has to be one of those three. It's gotta happen. But let's talk about the clown that's been on everybody's mouth. It started the revolution that made the most money as an independent film that they've ever seen in that genre.
Terrifier?
Art the Clown. And a little small movie, All Hallows Eve. Not to be anything special. Damien Leone made that. It was a trilogy with Art the Clown appearing in a few little scenes in every chapter of the anthology. Not a main, really big stable. It wasn't even played by the actual actor playing him now. And it did so well, went viral. And after that, he gets a budget. We want to see that clown character. And then he puts the real actor we have now, David Thornton. I love the guy. He's a great dude. He's also a makeup artist like Damien Leone. And this movie franchise has changed the whole game.
Yeah.
This clown's on a whole new level of seriousness. People,
it's been a while since we've had any kind of clown movie that has really picked up traction.
Yeah, that's
right.
There's a scene in part 2. It's like when she's having that dream. Let's all go to the clown. They have a song where they're singing about going to the school and going to the store and everything else. It's that is trippy, Yeah. Because that's actually giving us the scene where when we were kids and we were scared of clowns. It's her and her nightmare, with pigtails, and it's Art the Clown, and she's listening to the story. We all like to go to the clown thing, and it's wow, it's a jingle. You're in a nightmare. It's Art the Clown killing people in your nightmare. It's it's badass, but it also brings all the tropes of what we think of clowns, Yeah. And why people are
We also have Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sweet Tooth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Didn't they just come out with the new one?
I don't know if the new one's out. If it is, I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Oh, I know that they did the show, and the show, it was great. They cast the perfect voice for him.
I just really like the video game.
I love the video game. This show was great. Oh, it was really good. He ain't good looking to begin with, and he don't scare me because he's not like one of them clowns that he's not the cutesy clown.
Yeah. One of my friends, she said this forever ago, and I will always remember this, is that she's not a big fan of clowns, right? When it comes to Art the Clown, the scary ones, Captain Spaulding even, that doesn't scare her. I feel the same way. That doesn't scare me. I know your intentions. I know what you're up to. But it's the cute little cutesy ones with their little frilly collars. It's or what are you doing? You terrify me.
Or a movie that got me terrified of clown dolls.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The doll so badly.
No.
It's actually a cursed item that a collector owns that goes over a certain price point that could buy us an island. And he keeps it in a plexiglass because it's actually a cursed item from people
again, clown.
Yeah.
Well, Poltergeist, the whole movie with that little girl passing away, unfortunately, everything surrounding what happened during the making of those films is just...
The Poltergeist movie is one of the most cursed movies ever. You went to rehab, the grave, went to jail, these every young person in that movie did not have a good life.
It's messed up.
Yeah, clowns, man. That's what clowns do to you.
The cutesy ones, man, they're gonna get you.
But the little girl from Poltergeist, she passed away. She had Crohn's disease. That's what she passed away from.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what caused her. Because I think it was undiagnosed.
Okay. I mean, that would make sense, yeah.
And then her sister in the what? Her sister in the movie, didn't her boyfriend like?
That's actually an episode on some show. Like it was, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, there was a lot going on in that entire making of that movie. Like, there was a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, John Wayne Gacy, and they actually finally tore that house down. For a while, they still had it up.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was crazy.
I don't know. I wish
But,
those
you know-
things could stay up, but I also don't at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
disrespectful, but it's also respectful to have it like it was like their resting place. You know what I mean?
How do you think having that house still will help the price in that neighborhood grow? It probably turns into like nothing, and nobody wants to live there ever again.
It's fair, but I also think it's Cook County, so.
Yeah, Cook County's bad. I can have a friend come on and tell you that.
Oh, absolutely.
But one thing I also noticed with the clowns, and did you guys remember overhearing about how like clowns would come in and then children would disappear and then the circus or the fair would take off to another town? And
Yes.
so I think
really
the
urban legends.
disappearance of children.
How do you when did you first hear about that? Because I know that we all hear about things at different times in our lives, but urban legends of evil clown sightings in real life. You guys know the Phantom Clowns thing. We all know that. It really started like in 1981 in popular TV culture in Brookline, Massachusetts. And the reason New Yorkers or like say Philadelphians knew it because it was in Massachusetts, and kids were like going missing. People thought and clown sightings were all the rage there. And then it started going to other states. And it happened within a lot of the point of the middle 80s.
It was just like an urban legend that I was taught. Like, my parents would joke about it all the time. Like, we're just gonna go drop you off at the circus. Like, you're gonna go hang out with the clowns. Like, when I was naughty, and like, it was like this urban legend that you go there and you hang out and they just take you.
Realistically, though, no, that wasn't. It was somebody that drove a van in some states or a minivan in other states, went down the whole mid coast, the east coast, drove to different places, dressed as a clown, helped out a hitchhiker or a kid in front of a carnival who lost their parent. They stopped the investigation because it crossed county lines, and this is bullshit and this bullshit. They never really kind of found out who did that. They do believe it's one person that did that, and it actually went then further on to Brazil and countries like that. So that's why you never will find that person. They went to place that same crime, the exact same MO, traveled in the 80s to Brazil and other countries like that. So that's why people don't know or just don't have the rights to go and investigate it at that time. Laws are different, extraditions are different, That is the most curious thing we're going to go into something in a bit, but we're going to talk about next. I really want to dive into that, because that is a real story. It's not an urban legend. That's actually real truth that you can look up news reports and not go to school for a few days if you read them.
I mean, most urban legends, they are based on a lot of scary truths.
Because they did hit New York, and in New York, there was 2 cases and kids at carnivals in Brooklyn, New York, that disappeared in the same MO. 84, when I was born around that time. That's how I heard about it.
I think SVU did a episode about that, and I think Evan Peters starred in that episode.
I think I know that.
Yeah.
I think I know that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That was SVU, right? Or is
that's Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds. Yes. And Evan Peters,
and
I think had the same premises.
90% of the time, Criminal Minds does a storyline that has happened in some way in real life.
No, yeah. They're largely based off of a lot of really real things.
And they've had clowns featured on their shows a lot.
Did they?
Yeah, when they were talking about like Manson and everybody else.
They will.
But I just remembered that episode because we were talking about Freak Show, and I'm like, wait, Evan Peters also played in a different carnival type episode. I'm like, yeah. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back to like the disappearances and everything, and just, I don't know.
It's not just disappearances of like people disappearing because maybe they wanted to, or I'm talking about even going into the woods and disappearing and being gone.
Yes. No, literally.
Like you just disappeared and there was people out there with you and you're just gone.
Yeah. Like
Those
people
are
who
the-
go on full trips with people and they just walk out to go take a pee or go to the car or whatever it is and they just poof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody in the beginning, this stuff that really kind of happened when you went, your girlfriend, like you went to like go camp out in the forest or like Yosemite, and that happened. Okay, no, that happens like any day. You're at a house party and you're like walking home and you're right next to the person and they just disappear out of nowhere. What happened to that person? These are real
There's
stories.
so many. There's so
Yeah,
many
there's
weird
so
things.
many.
Or like, hey, I just said goodnight to my friend and he walked home a block away and he was never seen again.
Yeah. I feel like the Gabby Petito case really kind of drew a lot of attention to a lot of like missing people, foul play type situations. And then because of the circumstances, a lot of people did think that she was just one of those people that just poof, disappeared, teleported, whatever.
Who disappears and teleports? Can you tell me who? I'll call them up. Like people believe that. I don't understand how do you believe that crap.
We'll talk about it. There's a lot.
There is.
There's a lot.
I'm psyched. I'm going to be so like really driven on that. Oh yeah, I am.
I think that's where we get into like more like metaphysical type stuff. Also, there's a lot of cases that are very strange like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
knowing her on that note, like, I want to edge you guys out on a clown survey I spent some homework on, okay? And I had to do this like so hardcore, like you have to do stats in certain websites. The closest one I can give you guys is 2022. A survey of 987 adults from 64 countries found that 54% of respondents reported experiencing some degree of copa. Can you say the word? Because I cannot pronounce it right, guys? The clown phobia. I cannot pronounce it so well.
I have no idea. I would have to read it.
Clownophobia. Okay, that's what I'm call it.
Clownophobia.
Yeah, okay. That's what if it's not right. Although the previous, that's been a big thing across studies. The largest and most recent survey to date includes 987 adult participants from 64 different states that now report 53 to 55% of the same had some degree of fear of clowns and mental illness.
Clowns and mental illness, huh?
Yep.
That.
And they also consider
That tracks.
mental illness is brought on by the fear of clowns. That's a big study that they are doing now in America. Mental illness has been starting in a lot of people because of their phobia of clowns. That leads them to anxiety, depression, and mental health. Big time.
Huh.
Clowns can do that much to one person. You believe that?
That's crazy.
So if you take away anything from this podcast, just know that clowns are scary enough to cause someone to have a mental break.
That's
Colorophobia. Colorophobia.
There we go.
I like the clownophobia thing.
I wonder if
Just let
my
me know.
face will give one of the listeners some sort of mental illness.
9 out of 10 people who watch our podcast or listen to us might actually be entertained by clowns going forward, or
Is it you?
and that's not on us. Not on us, okay? That could be because of you and the makeup on, not us, though. All right?
But I mean,
Warning.
clowns have been like connected with like everything: happiness,
Yes.
sadness, movies, books,
I mean, how?
music with ICP.
Yes.
But guys, how many B horror movies in like the early 2000s have you seen on like DVD where there was clown strippers or clown serial killer hot chicks or something like that? They went to a point where they used it so satirically, where it was like so sleazy in a way.
I saw this
Yeah.
one movie, and if you've ever seen Oz,
Okay, yeah.
Tobias Beecher, if you guys remember him,
I know who he is. Yes.
do you remember him, Meg?
Yeah.
Okay, so he did a clown movie, and it was not bad, and I can't remember the name of it, but he did a clown movie. I think it's You Scream, I Scream, or something.
Oh,
But he plays the clown,
Oh my god.
and that's
sounds
another thing with
familiar.
clowns that terrify me, and I don't know if this ties in, but I wonder what the study is of people who are scared of clowns have an irrational fear of ice cream trucks as well, because I will not go near an ice cream truck
So,
at all.
my thoughts our roots in pedophilia, like going back to John Wayne Gacy, is that like clowns are a children's thing. Ice cream trucks are a children's thing. Like the cotton candy, all of these innocent things. Like you have this innocent face, but everything is just a mask and it's behind it. So I think like that's the connection. That's why people hate clowns.
And this is why people are going to come back, is not only we're laying little seeds and for what we're going to talk about in so many more episodes, but we just started themes and ideas for so many more episodes.
That's true.
Like,
so true.
Like places that are so innocent looking where people go missing from. Ice cream trucks, number one.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. For me, it'd be a taco truck.
Oh, I love my taco truck. I won't go to the taco truck, son. I won't.
I don't know what it would be for me. It'd probably be the Red Bull truck guy. I'd be like, yeah, I'll go.
Normally it's like really hot women though, like running around in like the uniforms, like passing out free Red Bulls. Like that's what we had. And like, yeah, you could get me to go missing too.
It's either going to be that or it's going to be like the really good looking girl that works at the cool gym by herself at night where she goes out with the customer and that's it. You never see her again.
Oh, God.
That happens so much. It's like, do not go out with a jacked up guy that looks like, hey, I'm new around here.
They just had a really messed up movie with Kirsten Stewart. This is completely derailing, but she was a lesbian working at a gym, and then yes, she came in, and then it's fucked up. Go watch it. I forget the name of the movie. Go watch it.
Like, yeah, she really loved that movie. She's actually a producer, I think, on it. It's a really good movie. It's got great reviews.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It definitely got me. But
I got Megan thinking.
Next week, then, we said we're going to touch on the world of disappearances.
Yes.
Next episode.
And as you say that, and you guys, we all say the word disappearances. That is really a word we're saying right now. That's a whole generation of different words we're going to be saying in the next 2 weeks of episodes.
Yes. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. The knowledge that we're going to have to spew from our brains and our memories and our notes is going to be insane to a lot of people that never heard of certain things that might just scare them from their hometowns.
That'll be fun.
I'm going to go out of my way to scare anybody from like big cities. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have every case that you think you're safe in the city now.
No. Well, I always say it can never happen in small towns. You know, clowns get away with murder.
But if it happens in big cities, no one thinks it's anything. They just call it like a gang activity or something like that. So if that happens, you have something to blame it on. I think it's easier to disappear from a city like mine because you can cause the cops, the officers can make it under a different crime altogether. That scares me big time.
Yeah.
The clowns got me.
You never know. The chances are never zero, okay?
Never zero.
All right. So, to close us off here, again, if you guys would like to help us out in any way, shape, or form, you can check out Zach's eyeliners at Zach Mr. Eyeliner on Instagram. Shoot him a message. You can message any of us at any time at beyondtvcontact@gmail.com. You can look for our links in the link tree to find our YouTube, which you'll be able to watch this fun stuff after we have it posted on Spotify. You can check out my wonderful, I think it's wonderful, handmade jewelry and handmade oddities.
I love her oddities.
And get to know us on our own social media platforms and come say hi.
Yes, please make sure, guys, you check out her oddities and her crystals. Things that she makes are very important to us all. She does it from her heart. It's real. And please check this another amazing person out. She has best book reviews I've ever heard in my damn life. She should be paid for even mentioning a book because she's so intelligently spoken. She's so well spoken about them. And please follow all of us on Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
You'll get different likes of ours. We do different things in the world, but we all love what we love. We're all positive people in our universe. And you got to support each other in what we do. Tomorrow is dedicated to the both of you. Happy Valentine's Day to you girls, your ghouls and girls, because you are two amazing ghouls and women who have great lives, great talent, and I appreciate you two in my life and on this show. And it's anti-Valentine's Day for us all, but I do celebrate you two as queens of horror and everything darkness in my mind, in my heart.
Anti-Valentine's Day, always.
Anti-Valentine's Day.
And if you guys want me to go out with a nice quote for you, let me know.
Let's go.
All right. So since now you're going to be totally on the floor, it's from Mr. Stephen King. And his great quote he has said many times. Monsters are real, And ghosts are real, too. They live inside us. And sometimes they win. And that can mean a lot of things. If you know the Stephen King life and what he went through, I think you know how many terms I can take on.
Good
Absolutely. There
job,
isn't a
Dr.
more,
Spencer Reed.
yeah, there isn't a more fitting quote for this episode.
And that's why I think it very perfectly, yes. So another one in the books, clowns, Stephen King, a lot of the times. We said it like about 20. If you've been on the whole thing, please don't drink and drive.
Until next time, guys.
Bye.
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 Thanks again for listening. New episodes drop here every other Wednesday. You can watch the video version on YouTube Fridays. If you would like to be featured, please reach out to any of us at beyondtvcontact@gmail.com. See you next time.